How did Renaissance architecture begin? How did Europe move from medieval Gothic cathedral to classic harmony and human-centered design? And how did one architect change the entire history of architecture through geometry, engineering, and perspective? The answer begins with Filippo Brunelleschi. Brunelleschi is widely considered the father of Renaissance architecture. He was not only an architect but also an engineer, mathematician, and inventor. He solved one of the greatest architectural challenges of his time, the construction of the dome of Florence Cathedral. He also developed linear perspective, which transformed art and architecture forever. Brunelleschi changed how architects think about space, structure, and geometry. This is the story of Filippo Brunelleschi, the man who invented Renaissance architecture. So Brunelleschi was born in 1377 in Florence, Italy. Florence was one of the most powerful and wealthy cities in Europe at the time. It was a center of art, banking, and culture. Brunelleschi was originally trained as a goldsmith and sculptor. During the late medieval period, artists and craftsmen often worked across multiple disciplines. He learned metalwork, sculpture, and mathematics. This technical knowledge later helped him become a revolutionary architect. One of the most famous events in Brunelleschi's early life was a competition for the bronze doors of the Florence Baptistery. The competition was between Brunelleschi and Lorenzo Ghiberti. Both artists created the bronze panels showing the story of Isaac and Abraham. Ghiberti won the competition, Brunelleschi lost. This moment changed his life. Instead of continuing as a sculptor, he decided to focus on architecture and engineering. This failure became the starting point of a revolutionary career. After losing the competition, Brunelleschi traveled to Rome with Donatello. In Rome, he studied ancient Rome buildings. He carefully measured temples, domes, and arcs. He studied structures such as the Pantheon. This research helped him understand classical proportion and engineering. Brunelleschi was not simply copying Roman architecture. He was analyzing how it worked. This scientific study of architecture became the key part of Renaissance thinking. One of Brunelleschi's most important contributions was the invention of linear perspective. He discovered how to represent three-dimensional space on a flat surface using geometry. This allowed artists and architects to create realistic spatial drawings. Perspective created depth, spatial accuracy, and visual realism. This invention transformed Renaissance art and architecture. Later, artists such as Leonardo da Vinci used perspective in his works. Perspective became the foundation of architectural drawing and representation. Today, architecture plans, sections, and renderings still follow this geometric logic. Brunelleschi's greatest achievement was the dome of Florence Cathedral, also known as Santa Maria del Fiore. The cathedral had been under construction for decades. However, no one knew how to build a massive dome. The span was too large. Traditional construction methods required wooden scaffolding, but Florence did not have enough timber. The project seemed impossible. Brunelleschi proposed a revolutionary solution. He designed a double-shaped dome with a self-supporting structure. The dome used herringbone brick pattern, internal ribs, geometric structure, innovative construction machines. The dome could be built without traditional scaffolding. This was an engineering breakthrough. Construction began in 1420 and was completed in 1436. The dome became the largest masonry dome in the world. It remains one of the greatest engineering achievements in architectural history. Brunelleschi introduced many architectural innovations. He applied classical principles to new buildings. His architecture focused on proportion, symmetry, geometry, and human scale. He designed buildings such as San Lorenzo and Chapelle. These buildings introduced Renaissance architectural language. Clear geometry, classical columns, and balanced proportions became the new standard. His work replaced medieval Gothic complexity with rational order. This marked the beginning of Renaissance architecture. Brunelleschi believed architecture should follow mathematical harmony. Buildings should be based on geometry and proportion. He emphasized clarity of structure, rational design, classical order, and spatial harmony. Architecture was no longer just craftsmanship. It became an intellectual and a scientific discipline. This idea influenced later architects such as Donaldo Bramante and Andrea Palladio. Brunelleschi laid a foundation for Renaissance architectural theory. Brunelleschi's ideas remain highly relevant today. Modern architects still rely on structural engineering and geometric design. His integration of art, engineering, and mathematics is still a model for architectural practice. Filippo Brunelleschi is considered the founder of Renaissance architecture. He built one of the greatest domes in history. He invented a linear perspective. He transformed architecture into scientific and artistic discipline. Brunelleschi showed that architecture could unite engineering, mathematics, and beauty. His legacy continues to define architectural thinking today. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helps you better understand the foundation of architectural thinking. We are still climbing the ladder of the knowledge in architecture, art, and design. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.